Alright, we should be up and running now. Just rotate my microphone slightly so we can pick up my voice. So, welcome in to the second of 2 weekly streams for the NSL Season 12 Group Stage, week number 3. My name is Alex, my Twitch is above me, and I will be streaming on it later today, so make sure to give it a follow if you want to see more of me personally. But if you don't care about me, then whatever. Today's match will be between Ex Animo Italy and Zitachi Gaming, both of which being in Group B of this group stage. Sorry, I'm by myself, so I have to write down some stuff so I don't forget anything. So today the captain of Ex Animo Italy in the clan is going to be Anto, and the captain for Zitachi Gaming will be Asieb. And also, as always, chat, please let me know if I'm mispronouncing any names throughout the event. I want to do right by our players and our community. So, talking briefly about where both teams stand in the leaderboards as we wait for the tolerance period to end, which means we're going to get started at 9:10 Central European Time, or 10:10 a.m. here, blah blah blah. They're in Group B. Ex Animo Italy is currently in a qualifying position, being number 2 on the Group B leaderboard. However, if they lose this match, they're actually going to drop down to joint 3rd with Crispy Clean Esports. And they're going to be on even footing otherwise, so it's going to be joint 3rd until more matches happen. Meanwhile, Zitachi in the leaderboard is in dead last with 3 straight losses back to back to back. Looking at the individual matches, this might not be terribly representative of Zitachi's performance, as they didn't have very many matches so far, less than the rest of the teams in the group, because odd number, whatever. So that'll get made up for later on in the second half of the group stage for sure. But because Ex Animo Italy already has 3 straight losses, they practically need to win every other match from here on out if they want to have a good chance at qualifying. Of course, anything can happen between now and 2 weeks from now. We are in the second half of the group stage though, so wins and losses at this point in the game really do matter a lot more than they maybe did at the very start. So anything can change. Right now it looks like Enosis and Ex Animo Italy are in the 2 qualifying spots. Crispy Clean not too far behind with only 1 more loss because they played more games than Ex Animo Italy. So that's why I say if Ex Animo Italy loses this one, they'll be on even footing with Crispy Clean for joint 2nd or 3rd or whatever. CMG Academy in a distant 4th with 4 losses and 1 win. They really need to pick it up if they want a shot at qualifying. And Zitachi in dead last. Now, this isn't a black mark on their overall performance for any reason. The last time we streamed a Zitachi match, it actually got to set 3. Got pretty close, so I'm not trying to bash on any team for any reason. And I guess there were some Group A matches since yesterday's Nothing Burger of a stream, so I guess let's go over that. Deadly Warfare and Crown X are now in joint 1st, both with 3 wins and 2 losses. However, Crown X is actually slightly behind Deadly Warfare due to points difference, as in it came down to individual sets. The more you go to set 3, the lower your points diff score is, because that means you gave up a set at some point in your matches. So Deadly Warfare is in 1st place there, Crown X in 2nd, and they have a warning for no-showing yesterday. AEG not too far behind in 3rd place with 2 wins and 2 losses. They were the odd one out of the group, having played less matches than everyone else. So as a result, their position is not representative. And so next week will really determine where AEG stands in all of this business. Atlas in 4th, being on almost equal footing with AEG, 2 wins, 3 losses. So they really need to pick it up if they want to qualify. 1 more win would put them back into a good position. and then Fight Club in dead last with 2 wins and 3 losses, but they're behind not by points diff, but on tiebreaker. So we have 4 or 5 tiebreakers essentially in our group stage. One is win-loss record. That's the first way we score teams. If those are tied, then we go to points difference, which is calculated by sets won minus sets lost. And so the higher that score is, the more you have definitive victories. 2-0. If it goes 2-1, then your points diff score is going to be lower and you're going to be further behind on the leaderboard. And that's why I say the early 2 sets are pretty important, because they do factor into your tiebreaker scores. And the third layer we have is the tiebreaker point, which is basically wins versus tied opponents. So, for example, in Group A, Atlas and Fight Club are tied on both win-loss and points difference. So, because Atlas beat Fight Club in the Atlas versus Fight Club match once, Atlas has a tiebreaker point and Fight Club does not. In their second clash, if it goes the other way around, then that could be tied too. If that's the case, then we go to a medium Butchell's system, which I could not explain to you, but it's a thing that challenge computes automatically. So that's good. And if all 4 of those metrics end up being tied, which is incredibly rare, but it has happened once before, then the final tiebreaker is a 3v3 King of the Hill set, spontaneously played, just one 3v3 King of the Hill set, and that will determine the winner of that tie. And of course that's only played if the tie actually matters, so if it's between 2nd and 3rd place, or 1st and 2nd place for bracket seeding. That's where it really matters. And that's the only time that we would actually use that spontaneous set. So that's just a little explanation of the leaderboard. Just have 1 more minute left in Sanremo Italy's tolerance period. Zatachi just asking a couple of questions about the global card bans. So, a little bit about the rule set for today. Evo Pagese is banned for the rest of the month, for the rest of the in-game season, and we're even looking at keeping them banned until playoffs begin, just to keep it consistent. Because we have a rule that states that any new card or Evo that comes out cannot be used for the first 30 days, to allow players a chance to obtain it without having to fork over a boatload of money. Because we're not trying to be a pay-to-win league. We're trying to keep esports as accessible as possible, so that's a rule that we use to help with that. And because of that, we are not going to be seeing heroes for the first bit. And we have to have a little debate in our admin team about whether or not we should allow multiple champions in a deck, because you'll be able to have 2 due to the hero slots. The 4 hero cards will definitely be banned for a hot minute once they come out in a day or so. Alright, so yeah, we're about to get into set number 1 of our day, which is a 2v2 best of 3. 1 global ban per team. So the lineups will come out momentarily. One of the drawbacks of keeping everything accessible is nobody has to pre-submit lineups, which pre-submitting lineups would really help casting, but it's just a group stage. We don't do that. We're just semi-pro. We don't care too much. So before we get into any gameplay, just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the broadcast, if you're enjoying my soothing voice, you're probably not, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel and the league, and shows that what we do actually matters. So, subscribe, like, so that our streams can hit the algorithm harder. And we will get into the match momentarily. 3 minutes to declare lineups. So after this 2v2 best of 3, it'll be a 4v4 TES, King of the Hill, which basically each team gives a lineup of 4 players, then each player plays their designated opponent simultaneously. Winners stay, losers are gone. and then the remaining players play a King of the Hill set as normal. Finally, when everything else is done, if it's 1-1, then we go to a 1v1 best of 3 CRL duel set, reminiscent of what you see in CRL. So for those of you just tuning in, we're just waiting a little bit for these lineups to come. Okay, so at Animal, we'll be running Miguel and Fawn, and they're going to be banning Goblin Giant. And then and then Zatachi will be using a Sebai and Asieb, and they're going to be banning Miner. So it's going to be Medell and Fawn versus Sebai and Asieb, and the bans for this set will be Goblin Giant and Miner. 2 minutes for Zatachi to request, so Zatachi will be on the bottom of your screen for this set. Just waiting a little bit longer for these players to get into the game. And yeah, one of my favorite things about the 2v2 set in NSL is, of course, the fact that 2v2 isn't very common in semi-pro anymore, so we get to see some very creative decks here. The meta's not entirely flushed out quite yet, so we get to see some fun things going on. Asieb tipping off the request for the battle. Just letting all these players fill in here, and then we can get the game underway. Energy drink, tasty. Alright. Going in now to, oh god, why isn't it working? There we go. Sorry about that, just had some brief technical difficulties there. But it's going to be Asieb and Sebai for Zatachi Gaming on the bottom of your screen. They're going against Fawn and Miguel for Etanimo Italy at the top of your screen. Just have a little bit of game lag thanks to particle effects not working well with my PC emulator here. It'll figure itself out soon, I hope. We have a Golden Knight going out for Zatachi Gaming. Dark Goblin, Skeleton King. Ooh, Lightning gonna come out from Fawn and Miguel. Well, from Fawn specifically. Not sure that Lightning was the most worthwhile, because now Fawn and Miguel are down a little bit of Elixir. Ooh, an unfortunate mistiming of that E-Dragon allowed both wall breakers to connect, putting Etanimo Italy in quite a lead in the first minute. Quickly being made up by a Goblin Barrel, though. E-Spirit not being enough. Some mistakes from both teams coming down. Etanimo now back in the lead by a wide margin. Goblin Gang gonna make light work of that Skeleton Giant. Etanimo's defense just unbreakable right now, allowing both wall breakers to connect despite an overabundance of Elixir. Zatachi better be cooking up a good push here. Those cards are going to easily hard counter that. Okay, Lightning. Plus Vines. However, despite all of that Elixir, Ram Rider only gets one hit on the tower. I really wish my game wouldn't be lagging like this. Ooh, the Fisherman tanking for that Evo Barrel. Dark Goblin gonna take the tower for Etanimo Italy, and that's gonna put them in a very good position at the start of this match. Zatachi already in a bad place on the leaderboard, so a lot of pressure immediately. So it must be very frustrating that their effort in 2v2 is not materializing into results here. A successful lightning block by Zatachi, but their tower is already gone. Alog is going to take their other tower. It's over. I'm already calling it for Etanimo Italy for game number 1 of the 2v2 set. And indeed, despite all of that damage coming in at the last minute, Etanimo takes game number 1 of the 2v2 set. After a pretty dominant gameplay by Etanimo overall. Yeah, double bait versus Ram Rider. That's unfortunate, dude. Very, very unfortunate. And in fact, I can't identify a single, like, isolated incident that would have happened to get Etanimo the win, other than just some failed defenses here. In fact, I want to walk you through a little bit about what happened in the early game that spelled doom for Zitachi. Alright, here we are. We're where I want to show now. So look at these wall breakers here. They're coming in. E-Dragon, that's a 5 elixir commitment, and it doesn't counter wall breakers. Yeah, too little too late on that E-Dragon. And then here comes a Goblin Barrel. E-Spirit, also not enough. They didn't have anything better in cycle though. And then a Bar Barrel in cycle, not going to be used on the Goblin Barrel, instead opting for a Skeleton. Gonna deal some more damage. Barbarian Barrel coming for the Dark Goblin instead. And that alone took a quarter of that tower, and a lot of this tower. So that was one of the misplays earlier on in the match. That really spelled doom for Zitachi. Getting into game number 2 here. And it looks like we have now, it's going to be Etanimo running a Lava Hound, Zitachi running Drill. Golden Knight, and it gets some damage on the tower for Zitachi here. Wall breakers connecting, everything, including the kitchen sink connecting. What happened? Oh. Etanimo used Miner, which is a banned card. Oops. That's a point for Zitachi. Imagine using a banned card. Unfortunate. So just as a reminder, Goblin Giant and Miner are both banned in this set. So let's look at a quick replay here to see what exactly happened in the first 10 seconds of this match that we missed. Here comes the wall breakers. We have a sad skeleton. Miner in cycle immediately. Now, as long as they don't use Miner, they're okay. Executioner to defend. Depression. And that's when a banned card comes out. And immediately, as soon as they played that Miner, Etanimo lost. All they had to do was not touch the Miner, and they would have won. But instead, they used it. So now quickly transitioning to game number 3 here. Hopefully they learned their lesson. This time it's going to be Medell and Font for Etanimo on the bottom of your screen, Sibai and Asiev for Zitachi on the top of your screen. So Etanimo is now true blue. Etanimo running double bait again. And Zitachi sticking with their Goblin Drill deck. Alright, gonna be a drill on that tower. Berserker to counter everything alongside that Executioner. I don't know why more teams don't ban Etsy, honestly. Skeletons are trying to defend that. Maybe a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a miscommunication from Etanimo Italy, allowing for the double placement of Dark Goblins. But the cannon card still does hella damage to Zitachi's tower. Another miscommunication from Etanimo, though. Log and Barbaro played simultaneously. Its animal now down a bit of elixir. Zitachi has the opportunity to fire back and punish. But will they go for it is the question. Medeo really low on elixir. Fawn doing okay. Allowing more minion damage on the tower. One of them better throw a drill soon. Golden Knight on defense, that's fine. And probably will tank for an incoming drill momentarily. And I wonder if its animal's gonna clock that, put something at the bridge to stop the Golden Knight. Indeed they do. Golden Knight dash on all those guards. Beautiful defense by its Animo Italy though. Now some dueling pressure. If I were Zitachi, I would have ignored that wall breakers. But that's why I'm not a good player. Ooh, big skeleton chain ability. Poison, slightly misplaced to not get those skeletons, forcing out another log. Ooh, Evo Snowball gonna allow those skeletons to get a couple of stabs on the tower, but not a lot of damage at all. A couple of swipes by the Berserker. Good bridge place to Dart Goblin, another drill. Evo Skelly's on the tower! Minions aren't gonna do enough. Kenya's active now. 635 is all that remains. Evo Skelly's fizzle out and die. So, actually a little unfortunate for Zitachi, because now the Kenya's active, and that drill is not gonna do enough anymore. Okay, the kitchen sink coming out against that goblin barrel. It's Animo's tower down to 315. Is this the comeback for Zitachi after a depressing start? Here comes a rocket, and Zitachi will take set number 1, the 2v2 set. This is the start of Zitachi's glow up. However, it's important to note that even the last time we saw Zitachi, they were very strong in 2v2, but not so much in the 1v1 sets. So hopefully, since the last time we saw them, they maybe practiced a little bit more. That's the hope right there. And here we go. 2v2 is over. Now we wait just a little bit longer to get to the lineup for the TES Chain of the Hill set. So for those of you who just tuned in after my explanation of what TES is, essentially 4 players from each team. They play against each other simultaneously. Winners stay, losers sit out, and then the winners of the simultaneous matches will play a Chain of the Hill set as normal. Chain of the Hill being, you know, in sequence, last man standing kind of thing. You'll see it as we go. So, you might be thinking to yourself, how the hell are we going to cast 4 simultaneous games? I have the same question, but what we've been doing is just popping in and out of the games as they go, reading the results after the fact, and setting the scoreboard accordingly. So, 3 minutes to send lineups. I feel like for a lot of these teams, their lineups are already pre-cooked, given how they look copy-pasted, but yeah, we will see. And so, as a reminder, there is a rule that players can only play in 2 sets for the entire match. So, Miguel, Fawn, Sibai, Asieb can only be in 1 more set, which means you're either going to see them in TES or 1v1, not both. I see a chat silence violation. Oh. The family-friendly clan. But at Sanimo, or no, Zitachi is going to be running Sibai, Ace, Shishu, and Nobody. A player called Nobody, to be clear. And then meanwhile, Exanimo will be running Hyrax, Fawn, Karim and Miguel. So those will be the four. Etzenimo will now be requesting in order, so we will be seeing some gameplay momentarily here. So your matchups are going to be Hyrax versus Sebai, Fawn versus Ace, Karim versus Shishu, Miguel versus Nobody. That's going to be our matchups for this set. So very interesting matchups here. I haven't seen any of these four players from Etzenimo except for maybe like Fawn. And then meanwhile, we've seen a lot from Sebai, we've seen Ace, we've seen Shishu. They all perform pretty well, but also have had some struggles. Here come the battle requests. In order, just how we liked it. Just waiting for Miguel. Probably trying to pick a deck right now, Miguel. So hopefully soon they will start accepting the matches. Yep, Miguel sends the request, so momentarily you should start seeing Zitachi accepting these games. So for this part of the set, the TES phase, Etzenimo Italy will be on the bottom of your screen, Zitachi will be on the top. So now just waiting for just a little bit longer for these acceptances to happen. Ooh, a request disappeared. Are there some technical difficulties happening? Ay. Gotta wait. There we go. Yeah, so we need... The 2-minute timer is still running. So Sebai should request a match against Hyrax. Ace should accept the request against Fawn. Karim should... Yep, there we go. Fawn and Ace. Okay. Fawn and Ace is the first game that accepted, so we will see what's going on there first. Looking here, looks like Fawn is going to be running normal Princess Hours, Ace running Cannoneer, both opting to leech a metric boatload of Elixir, probably on purpose. Nothing really happening at the moment. They might both be running Beatdown or something. Opting to wait until double Elixir to actually play the video game. We'll check back in with them. Let's look at Karim and Shishu now. This is the third matchup. Here. And there are no global bans except for Evo Royal Hogs. And it looks like this will be a traditional RG type of deck versus what appears to be the Jinxie deck. A Bowler Graveyard Freeze using the Evo Witch instead of Ice Wizard. Very similar to the deck that I've been running for years before switching it up every now and then. E-Dragon will take care of all that stuff pretty easily. I think RG does have a matchup advantage here, especially using the Evo E-Dragon. But we'll check back in on them. See if we find something interesting. Let's look at Miguel and Nobody now. This is the fourth in the lineup. Miguel and Nobody. Looks like Miguel for Etzenimo Italy will be running your typical Ram Rider Evo Ghost Boss Bandit disgusting deck. I hate it. Nobody opting for a more Fireball bait approach. Either Golem or E-Golem based on the Battle Healer. However, if it were E-Golem, they probably would have played it already. Hump. So probably regular Golem then. Maybe even 3M if they're feeling adventurous. Okay, Mini Peck are going to do a good job here against all that. Baby Dragon going to be dealing a fair bit of damage on that left-hand tower. Yep, there's regular Golem, assisted by the Pump. Going to be a big ol' push. There's one game we haven't seen yet, though, so we're going to leave that going. And check in on Fawn and Ace, which is the second in the lineup here. Fawn and Ace are finally playing the game. And Evo Etsy Giant Skeleton deck versus E-Giant. E-Giant seems pretty weak in this meta, I'm not gonna lie, but both are hard counters drills, so it looks like Ace might have a matchup here. However, Fawn is definitely winning due to the Evo Executioner getting a lot of damage on that left-hand tower. Holy cow! Here comes some recruits, gonna pose a bit of a challenge to deal with. Etsy just makes light work of everything. Etsy is so underrated in ladder these days. Okay, here comes a Mother Witch, gonna handle a lot of stuff. No pity. No pity there. Alright. And Cannoneer actually didn't do a pretty good job handling the Giant Skeleton push. Golden Knight Dash not making it to the tower, just too spaced out. Some weird angles happen there. Barbarian Barrel not too effective. Tornado. Ooh. Recruits do not charge on that tower. Left-hand tower all the way down to 739. All Fawn has to do is defend now. But they're not the only game going on, so we are going to keep going. C by 1. Hyrax is knocked out, so Zitachi having some success. Karen won, so Shishu is knocked out. We have Magellan Nobody still ongoing. Miguel won. Nobody is knocked out. So far, it's going to be... And then finally, Fawn and Ace is the only game that's remaining here. This will determine if it's an even King of the Hill set, or if it's going to be difficult. If Fawn wins, Etanimo is going to be in a huge advantage, but I don't see how Fawn doesn't win. There's only 15 seconds, very little breakthrough potential for Ace. So there is no way that Fawn does not win this. Fawn BMing, oh my gosh. And Fawn wins. So it's going to be, oh god, a 3-1. I'll quickly just update the scoreboard on that. Etanimo, 3 points. Zitachi, 1 point. So now, Shishu essentially has to reverse sweep. Not Shishu. Sebai has to reverse sweep if Zitachi wants to win this set. So now it's going to be a regular King of the Hill phase from here on out. So if Sebai loses at any point in this King of the Hill phase, Etanimo Italy will take it, and we'll move on to the CRL duel. If Sebai somehow wins 3 back-to-back matches, then the match will end right here and now. Either way, a lot resting on Sebai here. Fawn sends a request for Etanimo Italy, so Etanimo Italy will remain on the bottom of your screen for this set. Another call to action here, make sure to like and subscribe. Heh. Alright, waiting for Sebai to accept the request and get into the game. I don't know how anyone keeps track of these things without a piece of paper. Like, I have one right now. Writing down the lineups and the scores for King of the Hill and all that. And the bands. Feels almost necessary. There we go. Fawn versus Sebai. Royal Ghost comes out for Sebai. Miner in the back. Not banned anymore. Interesting Miner play, though. And now Fawn is leaking a boatload of Elixir. Here comes a Mortar for Fawn. Gonna have an RG come out at the last second to defend against it. With the minions, it's gonna be an interesting Elixir trade either way. Cannon Cart locking onto the Hunter instead of the Royal Giant. Very unfortunate for Sebai. Royal Giant still gets 1 hit on tower, so Sebai is in the lead for now. Dark Goblin keeping it close. It's now off by under 100 damage. And they're both even on Elixir for the most part. Fawn is up by 1, but so far pretty even. Both players leaking quite a bit. And here we go, some ghost on ghost action here. And thanks to the skeletons, Seabai's ghost will win out against Fawn's ghost, but here comes some Rascals. And a defensive mortar coming out. Fawn clocking that Seabai probably wants to go RG. Fawn not letting him. RG going out in the back instead. Mortar's gonna get some shells on him before he gets to a shootable range here. Seabai now up on Elixir. Has a lot on the board. Evo Ghost gonna take out that mortar with the soldiers. No connection on that RG, unfortunately for Seabai. Fawn is ahead by, again, under 100 damage. But here comes some more of the Evo Mortar, the Game Changer card. Cannon cart. Miner to stop the Fisherman from being helpful on that RG in any meaningful capacity. As that RG dies, being strictly on defense, Royal Ghost to try and take out the Cannon cart. Cannon cart gets pulled in, arrows to take out the Fisherman. Ghost now crossing the bridge, Rascal's gonna come out, Mortar on defense, in the opposite lane, perfect placement by Fawn, great defense. Fireball having to come out. That Evo RG goes down before hitting the tower. Both players still under 100 HP apart, still anyone's game, though Fawn is doing amazingly on defense at the moment. So, while it is anyone's game, Fawn is just playing so well right now. Good evening, thank you for tuning in. Fawn playing out of his mind right now. Perfect defense once again. Cannon cart, mortar, everything. The kitchen sink, putting Seabai back on defense. However, one thing to consider, Seabai has a medium spell that gets wasted on minions because the Fisherman pulls the cannon cart away before it can help. The lead is now bigger for Fawn. Fawn is now way ahead on damage as far as this matchup is concerned. Evo Mortar on defense, gonna shut down any push that tries to come in. Not sure what Seabai can even do at this point. Evo Mortar gonna destroy that hunter in record time. Comes another cannon cart push. Fawn doing a good job of keeping Seabai locked in on defense so that he can't do anything on offense. Evo Mortar about to go down, getting one more shell off. Miner on the tower, bringing it down to 1200. This is Seabai's last chance to get a good push going. And it is not working out. RG in the other lane. Where there's one RG, there's always multiple in this league. RG finally gets on tower. A soldier gets on tower. But it's not going to do enough damage. 1998. Still ahead by about 800 damage for Fawn. Another RG coming down. A mortar might come down momentarily. No, it connects on the left, but the left is not the side that Seabai needs to be focusing on. 10 seconds remaining. And it looks like Fawn is going to take it and force the match into a 1v1 best of 3 CRL duels. As Seabai is not given an opportunity to sweep. So that's going to be set 2 going to Ex Animo, Italy. Set 3 coming up shortly. That was such a hard matchup, though. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know what Seabai could have done there. I really don't. Yeah. I don't know. That was hard to watch, honestly. Fawn just having such good defenses throughout the entire match. Seabai didn't have a chance. But now we're just going to be waiting on the lineup for the 1v1 duel. Going to set 3. So as I was talking about earlier, because Zitachi won 2v2, even if Etanimo wins, their point stiff score will be not very high for this match. Meaning that the tiebreaker might not be good for them. But yeah, if Etanimo wins this, they'll be on par with Enosis in the qualifying spot. Joint first in the group. So it looks like Etanimo will be running Karim. And Asia will be running Ace. As Sibai is knocked out, thanks to having played all of their allowed sets. Ah, we have the CEO of Etanimo Italy in the chat. Hell yeah. So we're just going to wait for the matchup to begin. Yeah, Etanimo Italy is doing shockingly well this season. If you win this, you're going to be in contention for first place in the group. Yeah, just waiting for someone to send a request for the match. And just as a reminder to all of our viewers out there, this is the CRL dual set, so no card repeats between games. However, this isn't like in-game duels where you have to pre-make a bunch of decks. You can make decks on the fly. It's okay. Ace will be sending out the request for Zitachi. So for this set, Zitachi will be on the bottom of your screen, and Etanimo Italy will be on the top. And this set is for all the marbles right here. And we are going in right now. Little Ace for Zitachi Gaming at the bottom of your screen. Karim for Etanimo Italy at the top of your screen. So it looks like Little Ace is going to be running our favorite bait deck. And I say favorite in a negative way. Meanwhile, Karim is running our favorite hog deck. Again in a negative way, because I personally hate going against both of these decks in ladder. They make me angry. But as far as competitive goes, these are both very effective decks in this current meta. Ooh, Wallbreaker's gonna kite that Mighty Miner away. Not gonna connect on the tower though, thanks to those perfectly placed skeletons by Karim. Now there's a Bandit coming down for Ace, gonna be stopped by a Firecracker and further stopped by a Hog Rider. So Hog Rider is going to connect for one hit on the tower. That Mega Knight will activate King via the Firecracker. So Little Ace will be doing better on defense. A Snowball coming out from Ace, expecting to hit like a small troop or something, but instead it hitting nothing and wasting 2 Elixir. So a perfect opportunity for Karim to lay down some punishment for Etanimo Italy. Here comes a minor Wallbreaker push. Evo Corrector, but there's arrows in cycle, so might not last very long. Archer Queen gonna take out, oh, both the Hog and the Firecracker. Perfect ability by Ace. As always, a squad work. We're trying to do our best like a family, all player help the other. I like that mentality. I really do. This is a team league. And teams gotta be like teams here. I really like that mentality. Alright, back into the gameplay though. Arrows come down for the Firecracker, Hog, and Mighty Miner. However, Evil Mega Knight's just going to destroy everything in its path. Completely immune to Karim's defenses for the most part. Bandit coming out to help against those buildings, gonna die quickly thanks to the bats. Ooh. Meta Knight proving to be a bit of a problem for Karen. Ace is way up on Elixir now. Another Meta Knight comes out. Ace cashing out on that Elixir advantage. Ooh, Evo Cracker does connect though. Mighty Miner gonna take everything out. So, looks like Little Ace doesn't have very many good offensive options, and that Hog Rider is just going to destroy his hopes and dreams for the most part. Here comes a Bandit to support the Archer Queen for Ace, desperately trying to make something happen. Tesla, though, going to prove very problematic for Ace. Karim in a pretty big damage lead. Two Archer Queens on the board right now. Archer Queen gets one hit on the right-hand tower. Still not going to do too terribly much, though. Miner on the left, dealing some more damage. Still sits under... Oh my gosh, Bandit connects on the left. The turnaround is here. Ace is in the lead. Ace is going to take the tower. Ace wins game number 1 in a wild reversal of fate here. I need to see that replay to see what the heck happened there. Wow. Zitachi now having match point. Let's go back in and watch that replay. See what's going on here. What happened? Let's fast forward to the ending of the game. And now we can see their card cycles and everything. So we have Mighty Miner going over to the other side. Archer Queen coming out, gonna have a good ability, gonna take out this Firecracker. Here comes a Miner and another Archer Queen. Mighty Miner in cycle. I play that on the Archer Queen. Too late! Archer Queen's on the tower. No, she's not. She's on the Mighty Miner, but it goes down to ability. Bandit here. Tesla there. Tesla comes out. Wall breakers evaporate it. Bandit gets on tower. And that's game. Wow. Ace knew just when to put on the gas and go, go, go. But no time to rest. We're in game number 2 now of the Cyril duel set. Wizard and Monk coming out for Karen. Immediately a Monk ability. Gonna do some work on that tower. Just a little bit though. This is probably gonna be some RG deck. Ooh, Fisherman comes down just in enough time to take out the Goblin Cage. Ace is up a bit of Elixir right now. Hey, Melody. You're tuning in just at the almost end of the match right now. Zitachi is actually up quite a bit. So Zitachi, despite their leaderboard performance, is finally starting to lock in and get it done. However, this is very well played by both teams right now, both putting on an excellent performance. Finally shaking off that dust. You're in gem lead with the main team. Exanimo or Zitachi? Either way, here comes a baby dragon now for Ace in Zitachi. Neither. Ha, okay. Not sure what Monk is going to do against an E-Giant, but finally we have an RG coming out in the other lane for Karen. Ooh, Evo Bomber connects on the tower, dealing a bit of chip damage. Cheeky. Oh, CMG versus Fierce Swords. Oh, that sounds like a very good matchup. Ooh. Not quite a chain activation. E-Giant too slow on the punch. Yeah, do let me know how to match those, Melody. That sounds like a very good matchup. Wizard on defense, gonna do a good job there. Monk to stop the Dark Prince from getting value. Ace in the lead by about 400 HP. Nothing crazy. Garrett's retired versus Trainer 1-1 going into set 3. Wow. Okay. I wonder if they're streaming. Maybe I can watch that after. If that match is being broadcasted, DM me the link. Meanwhile, that E-Giant doing work on Kirim's tower. Oh my gosh, wow. Kirim really hasn't had a very good opportunity to go super in yet. Ooh, Goblin Cage placed in the opposite lane. Gonna prove problematic. Base, RG10X, 1 hit. 2 hit. 3 hit. 4 hit. Wow. Oh, no need to send a clan link, though. Ooh, and there goes the Fisherman on the right-hand tower. Wow. Another RG forcing out the Diddy Cage. Kirim back in the lead. Holy. Diddy Cage still active. Here comes another RG. Little Ace leaked a metric boatload of elixir. Another cage coming out. Evil Wizard coming out. And the RG's not going to get a hit on the tower. Fireball to... Oh, it missed the Ice Wizard, though. Big mistake by Kirim. 2 baby dragons on the tower. When have I ever said that line before? Oh my gosh, those baby dragons are doing so much work. 1281 is all that remains. Offensive lightning. RG gets, or E-Giant gets 1 zap. Single digit number of HP is all that separates the 2 players right now. Who will win? Will the lightning come out in time? The answer is no, and Kirim saves his team and forces it to game 3 after a very close game. 200 HP, all that remains. Oh my, wow. Wow. This is going to be a very close finish. As we go 1-1 in the duel set. Match point for both teams coming up shortly. Holy cow. Incredibly close. That was like a 50-50 matchup almost. Ace immediately shooting out the next request, waiting for nobody. Here we go. No matter what, this will be the last game of the match. Zap coming out to cycle for that Evo. Stelly Drag's coming out. Wonder if it's a Pity deck for Kirim. Nope. It's actually gonna be Lava Hound. Lava Hound in game 3 is very risky, but it looks like Balloon also comes out for Ace. Inferno Dragon gonna take care of that. Zap already used up, not quite back in cycle yet. A little bit of death damage though. Actually no, that was just Zap, no death damage. Inferno Dragon for the other team. Is this a mirror matchup? Either way, Kirim locked on to the tower with both the Lava Hound and guards. That tower is going to go down. Little Ace recognizing game over. But it's his team's life on the line. He better not give up. Better play something. Lava Hound comes out for Ace. It is a mirror matchup. Maybe Ace can come back. I don't know. Guards going opposite lane. Trying to force out some sort of response. Goblin Cage comes out. Not going to be there for the Balloon or the Lava Hound. We're going to see a Flying Machine, maybe an Inferno Dragon 2. Balloon will connect, 1 hit. 1 hit. Ace, unhappy with the current predicament. Not going to zap to save that Lava Hound. Instead going to zap to save his tower from the Flying Machine. Okay. More Inferno. We need to see a small troop. Yep, minions. Good. And then Inferno should turn around and go to the Lava Hound, but it doesn't. It decides to go off on its own. Inferno thinks it knows better. And then here comes another Lava Hound. Inferno gonna take out those skeleton dragons. 45 seconds left, so this is Ace's last chance to come back. Guards opposite lane, gonna force something else out. Another guards. Evo Inferno coming out. Defensive Lightning comes out for Karen. Fireball gonna take out the flying machine. Balloon gonna connect. Evo Zap. But it's not quite gonna be enough. There's some lava pups on the tower. 18, 17, 16 seconds. 900 health is all that remains. Not quite gonna be enough damage. No DPS whatsoever. So Ace really tried his best. Defensive Lightning, yeah, it's over. Karim takes the point and the match for Zitachi Gaming. After a very long game, Exanimo Italy will win. That was a very long, very close game, but at the end of the day, Karim just put it away in a mirror matchup thanks to some early mistakes by Little Ace, allowing him to take the game for his team and putting Exanimo Italy in contention for first place in the group stage. Which only matters for bracket seeding, but still, a very well played by both teams demonstrating a lot of skill. Holy cow. So that's going to be the end of today's broadcast, as this was the only match happening today, and in fact this might be the last match before we open up week number 4 for the group stage. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps our stream out in the algorithm and helps the league as a whole grow and reach new audiences and new teams. But yeah, that'll be all. I will probably be streaming on my personal Twitch later this afternoon in Hawaii Standard Time, so probably really late at night for y'all. But that's just how I roll. And I will see you all on the next one. Hopefully we can stream next weekend, but I will be in a different location thanks to Thanksgiving, so might not be able to. We'll see how it goes. But otherwise, that's all from me. And we will see you all next week. I probably should have had the ending stream set up, but yeah, that's it for me. Cheers.